This is a short video to depict my visit to the Nazi Party rally grounds in Nuremberg, Germany. If you're unfamiliar with what these are, in the 1930s, this was where the Nazis had all those big parades like you see in Indiana Jones. And his little background on Adolf Hitler, he was actually, from Austria, and he was a pretty poor student, really, and not really that physically fit. He was really excitable about a lot of things. He was homeless for a few years. He was actually in a homeless shelter trying to sell paintings that was funded by Jewish philanthropists. And in the early 20s, he had these beer hall pushes where these big speeches, and he tried to surround a building and take over the government. He said he had armed soldiers outside, but they threw him in jail. He sentenced him to 5 years, which is pretty light for trying to overthrow your government. He only served 9 months. In that time, he wrote Mein Kampf, and then later he would run for president of Germany. He lost, but President Hindenburg made him the chancellor, sort of the vice president, the chancellor they call it. And next year, Hindenburg died, and Hitler got promoted, and everything went to hell after that. So he used democracy against itself, but he quickly started building the Nazi Party rallying grounds that look something like this. And it doesn't look huge, but it's really large. And at any one point, they had 100 to 150,000 SS and SA troops marching up this road here. And you don't think this is a big road until you see how huge it really is. And the buildings I'm going to show you now are this one here, which is the document building. If you can see this building here, it's where the documentation center was, and it's quite large. They had some ponds here. There were actually the original photos. There was a large, like a pole here on either side. I'm not sure what it would be called, like an eagle on top. These were waterways. This building is it's gone now. There's apartments, but this road is still here. And then the Zeppelin Field is over here, which I'll show you. This is where the famous parade scenes are held. And then there's another parade area here. The March Field is in this area. But most of this is gone now, but this area and this part are remaining. I'll show you that momentarily. The Wikipedia page about these grounds has some more information about it here. This is Golden Hall inside the Zeppelin Tribune. Let's see. It talks about all the different rallies they had here. It's a pretty awful thing when you think about it. There's no other purpose other than to indoctrinate people into this, I guess, culture, and to really impress upon loyalty upon people. And if you registered at the document center, you could be like an official Nazi. You were in. It was it's like a high pressure politics, I think. But they had this place called the Hall of Honor, which is still around. This building here. This is the sort of the back side of it. And this photo here, you can see there's Hitler and Heinrich Himmler and Victor Lutze are here. And look at how many people are standing around in this. You can get a sense of how large it is. There's Adolf Hitler here. But here's another. This is what you're going to be seeing soon. This is an aerial photo of the documentation center, which emulates the Roman Colosseum. There was a fair, like a carnival, happening when I was here recently. But you can come in this area and see the inside of the documentation center. It's red on the interior and like a white on the outside. This is the Grosse Strasse. This is a really long, really wide street. You'll see in the video where at the end of it there were these two columns. It's sort of the entrance to the whole thing. They could have 100 to 150,000 SS troops marching up the street, and the sides of it, much of it were these stone seats that went up, but they're covered in grass and dirt now, mostly overgrown, but you can still see them in a few places, which you'll see. The Zeppelin Field is the famous area here, which I was mentioning, was also overgrown, and the officials would stand up here. There's like an audience, and they'd have parades, and there's a stand here, and this was famously blown up by the Americans in 1945, the swastika, and then all of these columns were blown up as well. They're all gone, of course. Today, and it looks much different, but the center part's still there. Here's the video of the American Army blowing up that large swastika in 1945, thankfully. And here are the Americans right after the capture of this area here. There's an American, you can still see like pencils of American soldiers had written their names, like Sergeant this or that on the wall, and you can still see that today. Here's more photos of, you can get the sense of the scale, how big this place is. And then there's the March Field, which is even larger, which I didn't visit. It's now there's construction going on in that area. Much of this is now gone, actually. But that should give you some sense of what you'll be seeing. To give you a sense of where it is on a map, a modern map versus an ancient plan or an old plan, the plan on the right here has, you can see this document center, and that's the document center over here as well. And there are these two columns, there were like these big eagle-topped columns, or the bottoms of those are still there, but that's missing now. There were some buildings across the street, which is just a park now, you can see over here. And then the Grosse Strasse is this long thing up the middle. The buildings to the right are completely gone, but on the left you still have the Zeppelin Field over here, and the March Plaza is gone on the other side as well. So we'll be going in here So today's journey will be going into the documentation center here. We'll walk into this door, and then we go around the outside. We rent a couple of electric scooters. The street is longer than you'd think. Go up Grosse Strasse. And if you want to get an idea of the size of the scale, these are cars parked here. See how wide this street is. We'll take a turn up this Otto Ernst Schweizer Strasse. And we're going to go up to Zeppelin Strasse here. And if you look from the air, you can see the entrances. There used to be the entrances to the field here, and people used to sit here. This has been cleaned off because Americans play football here, and there's the rest of it is become just grass, and there's the stairs and other entrances. And then you can see this is the old Reichstag platform that they would give speeches from. This is where that swastika was exploded, and these used to be columns here on either side. Interestingly, if you see these little spots, this is the men's and women's restrooms right there, just in case you're worried about logistics at all. And that is this area. There was a carnival outside the grounds as we approached the Nuremberger Volksfest, which is the quietest carnival you've ever heard in your life. They have music, people inside having fun, sliding, but nobody's making any noise. We thought it was closed, but there are people on the rides.
Didn't think to check for services.
I say there's conflicting messages here because it seems like a happy, active place, but it's just oddly quiet if you're an American.
Oh shit, it's blocked off, dude.
If you drive along, you can see the front of the building here.
What the? Very strange to see Captain America.
Are those concerts here?
Wait. Captain America meets Superman? That is super strange.
Now this is comic book related.
Yeah.
It just got even more free.
Yeah. It says Captain America meets Superman at the Doxy Parade.
Whoa! Whoa. Oh, it's under hella construction. That's still awesome. Look how big that is. Everyone's tripping on it.
This area is very large. To get up the Grosse Strasse just a little bit, we rented some scooters to drive up so we could turn left to Zeppelin Field. And you can see the ruins of the seating area on the right here. There's another one on the left, and the street in the middle was soldiers all the way across. Here's that seating area. A lot of it's overgrown, and there's trees and moss coming out. Some places you can't see it at all, but it's where people used to sit on either side of the Grosse Strasse. I think it went up higher. There were wooden scaffold seating as well. And it just shows you how long the street is. I guess at one point there were up to 150,000 soldiers could march on this Grosse Strasse at one time. And you can see how far we're going with these scooters just to get, a short distance on the street. And it must have been really different back in the 1920s and 30s. Up this little cutoff to the Zeppelin Field was a strange little cowboys and Indians village that was built in this area. It's really weird to see. I guess it was closed in 1971, but for a while, people could dress up like cowboys and Indians in the Old West up in a little village in the street. It was super strange. This next part is Zeppelin Field in Nuremberg as well. It's a couple miles away from the last building, and I want to take a moment to talk about it. It's hard not to visit these sites without sounding like you're revering them, because they are huge, beautiful structures that were built really well. But you have to imagine that these things were built in the 20s and 30s. Imagine you're a German person in the early 30s. You just got out of World War I, and you were already paying all the war debt from that war. There's a Great Depression. You're not doing really well in general. You don't know that the swastika is an evil symbol. We don't, there's probably symbols we don't even know are going to be evil someday. You have no idea. All you know is this grandeur, and there's this stagecraft, and everything looks exciting and bright and new for you for the first time in a long time. And then there's all this pageantry, and they have torches and lighting fires and playing drums. And it's the only reason to do it is to make people sort of feel excited about and proud of their country for the first time in 30 years. So it's easy to sort of blame them for falling victim to this great orator of Adolf Hitler. But if you put yourself in their shoes and knowing what they know, it's hard to say who would or wouldn't do the same thing. Hitler was a master of taking a complex problem and reducing it to a simple message with an enemy that they could defeat, whether internal or external. And he gave people what they wanted. They wanted to feel good about themselves. He gave a lot of red colored posters and a lot of white marble buildings, and people felt good about that kind of stuff. And I think that blowing up the swastika very publicly and filming it was really important to do, and really blowing the hell out of this place was really a nice message, the sense that your time is done, but leaving the ruins for us to see is a good reminder that these things can happen even in modern times. People didn't think this could happen in the 20th century. And by this, I mean convince an entire populace to do really horrible or stupid things, and awful things too. It had happened, and it could happen again, and it starts with gaining wide acceptance, and wide acceptance is sometimes disguised, right? And so it's important to recognize these disguises. But this building this Zeppelin Field was gigantic. Here's some photos of what it looked like then, and I'll show you what some other photos look like now, and then give you some videos. Well, you can see how many soldiers were in this place at once. I think 100,000 would fit in this field at one time, with the audience around the outside of it. It was must have been quite a sight. Here's the stage from which Hitler would give his famous speeches, his oratories, and he would always come about 10 or 15 minutes late. And then even when he showed up, he would not talk for a couple of minutes just to really build anticipation from this position here, you can see.
Look at that.
Oh, so there was like pillars and stuff.
Wow.
Und die Bewegung sind Lebensausdruck unseres Volkes und damit ein Symbol des Ewigen. Es lebe die nationalsozialistische Bewegung! Es lebe Deutschland! These civilizations crumble away.